when you are leading a team, you have to understand everybody is coming from a different background. Everybody has different aspirations. Everybody has different thought process. Everybody had different experiences in the past.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining in to the another session of Beyond Code, where we uncover engineering leaders, tech leaders, and talk about their wonderful journey. Today, I have with me is Ravi. Ravi is the co-founder and CTO at Insurance Samadhan, a man you might have seen in your TV sets some months ago, trying to talk about how exactly he's changing and his team is changing the way the world operates in terms of insurance. So I happened to meet Ravi around 15 days back in his office, and he was very cordial to host us. We really had a long chat, and that really got me exciting on the way that he has approached life and he has approached the whole technology as a front. And that's where we have requested him to join us. Thanks a lot, Ravi, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Zain. And the pleasure was all mine hosting you guys. Just love the way you are solving a very relevant problem for engineering people like me. So yeah, pleasure to be here.
Thanks a lot. So just to give you a context and a little bit about Ravi that I have learned. So Ravi he's been a founder, and he's a founder again. So he very passionately told me that एक वक्त आया जब डेट बढ़ गया था तो कंपनी बंद करके वापस नौकरी करनी पड़ी. But it was not there in his mind to really go back. But fortunately, I think the founders at Insurance Samadhan discovered him, and today he's again a co-founder, leading a team, building a team, and I think very soon he'll announce of his next journeys on how these guys are now taking new races in front, and then they're all out in terms of solving the insurance problem that we have. So to begin with, Ravi, my first question obviously remains is, you've been a founder, you've been a developer at core, right? And you've always built things from scratch. You've always explained that to us. And I think, so what are your mantras? What are your foundation leaders that you try and inculcate whenever you have decided to build a tech-led company, as you explained?
Okay, Zain, first of all, I'm a co-founder first, and then a CTO second. So very, very clear thought process, how I approach my every single day when I come to my office being a founder is a 24/7 job. You are constantly thinking about the problem that you are solving. What mantras do I have? So yeah, it keeps changing at every stage of your company building. When we were starting out, and I've been talking about Insurance Samadhan, when we were starting out, it was like me doing everything. And then you have to hire people. So when you are hiring people, there is a certain philosophy that you have built over a period of time, because you have already worked with some amazing leaders I have worked in the past, and that rubbed onto me. And I had some idea of what kind of people I would like to work with, and what are the qualities that I am looking in people who are going to be part of my team. You have to trust people. You have to let them express themselves and then you have a responsibility of making very clearly what you are building. You have to make people align and make them understand the impact what you are trying to bring with your product or with your offering, service, whatever it is. Once an engineer or once anybody who is working with you understands the impact of what he is doing, it becomes really easy for him to become the 10x the person that he is right now. So at the core lies, does he even understand the impact that his work is creating? And once he understands, then and the second is the alignment, the goal, the focus, and then you have to understand what drives him. I remember from our conversation, I made the same point that you have to go beyond the person you are leading. And then what I mean by this is you have to understand what drives that person. And then you have to align yourself. When you are leading a team, you have to understand everybody is coming from a different background. Everybody has different aspirations. Everybody has different thought process. Everybody had different experiences in the past. You have to keep learning. At the heart of leadership is learning day by day. If a founder isn't a learning machine, it will be very difficult for him to move forward in his journey. So day in, day out, you have to keep learning. You have to have that. You have to have that knack of accepting that there are some things you need to get better at every single day, and that rubs onto the team. Always look out for people who are more smarter than you, and somehow you need to align with them. Make sure you keep them motivated to work with you. So yeah, these are some of the mantras that happen. And like obviously there is one very famous line that I keep repeating every day to my team and everybody who meets me, that we all are a work in progress. I am a work in progress. You are a work in progress. Everybody in my team is a work in progress. So you just need to keep identifying the areas with which you can keep improving yourself. And like in terms of tech, if I specifically talk about, then you have to keep up to date about the new technologies that are working. You need to at the heart of a CTO is always an engineer who wants to code. And that is where your love for that coding will not go away. It doesn't matter how higher you reach or like how big a team you are leading. You will still get the moment you get back a couple of hours in your day, you will go back to and understand, like adding some code to the repository. But yeah, I will tell you, it becomes very difficult when you have a big team, because they are already so your PR will not be merged, and it will be a shock to you. But then you will be deep down, you will be very happy that you have a team which is taking care of the software, which is taking care of the code and everything. But yeah, you need to keep track of the technologies. And even if you do not have time to go deep into this thing, you need to understand the impact these technologies are making on the software or on the like technological circle that is there. So you need to keep and then it is very essential for a person who is leading the team, that all these technologies, what kind of an impact or how you can leverage those technologies to give a better offering to your customers, and then align your product and engineering for the same. For example, the latest buzzword in the town is ChatGPT. Everybody is going about like what ChatGPT. No, obviously it is something which will have a huge impact on technology, right? But then you have to understand, if I am building an insurtech and my core area is insurance resolution, I need to understand how I can leverage ChatGPT to give a better offering to my customer, how I can make my processes more optimized. And that is my KRA right now. And once I am clear with that, then I will have to align my team, get them every kind of possible scenario whereby they can understand this thing, leverage this thing, and move ahead with that.
Correct. So interestingly, you've picked up two major follow-up questions. I'll go one by one. One, definitely you've explained the reason of why, right? And you've explained a lot more about hiring philosophy that you have. I'm sure that this whole experience has not come out of not grinding yourself. You might have done mistakes. You might have learned on the job, right? So can you just help me understand a little bit, and let's walk us understand what are those 2 mistakes or 3 mistakes that you're extremely fond of and really proud that you did that, so that today what you're talking is a lot more mature and you're a lot more experienced to go out and really hire and really go next level.
So first of all, a mistake is a wasted mistake if you do not reflect on it. So people think, so you have made a mistake, then you learn from it. No, you have to reflect on it and then learn from it. That is when a mistake is a useful mistake. You keep on making mistakes without reflecting on any one of them is not going to help you. 2 mistakes. I have made a lot of mistakes, but if I have to pick 2, it will be very difficult. I keep making mistakes on a day-to-day basis because I keep trying new stuff and everything. And obviously, when you lead a team, you keep understanding, and then you realize that the way you used to behave or the way you used to convey things in the past, right now you think those were mistakes. So that is the realization that will come to you when you go when you mature and when you have more experience. First thing, I will not say it is a mistake, but then when my first startup, I had to move away from my first startup. I had to move away from it. So you need to be very clear about what you are building and what role you are going to play in it. So before your team, a founder needs to be very clear on the mission and the vision. It is a very cliche statement, but if a founder is not clear about what he's building, and if the vision is not clear for years down the line, he will have trouble in executing that thing. So that is one mistake. For example, obviously, you have to break it down into short-term goals, long-term goals. And then, but then at the core of it, you need to be very, very clear about what you are going to build, what you are going to be. And obviously it is going to change. You are going to expand your vision, but then at the heart of it, you need to be very clear about. For example, at Insurance Samadhan, we are very, very clear from day one that we are going to be an insurance resolution platform. Now that we have a host of other services whereby we are doing claim filing also, we are doing portfolio servicing. There are a host of services that we are going to offer in the future. Obviously, we are going to increase our acquisition funnel. But then at the heart of it, we were very clear from day one that we are going to first master claim resolution. Insurance grievances is what our forte was. So this is one. Second thing is a founder needs to be comfortable with delegation. By delegation, I mean, for example, a founder is very close to the company or like the product that he's building. It is like raising a baby. But you need to be, you need to understand that you cannot run it all alone. And you need to trust people, and you need to give space for those people to make mistakes along the way, because you have already made mistakes, and the way you treated yourself when you made a mistake, you need to have the same kind of feeling, same kind of empathy for other people who are building for you. So otherwise, what would happen is you would not realize, but you would have something like called a founder fatigue. You are doing everything yourself because you think that there is nobody who can do it better than you. But then that is the wrong way to approach things. On your journey, if you are constantly looking out for people who are smarter than you, you will realize that it will make your life a lot easier going forward. And sooner or later, you will eventually learn that the only way to scale and the only way to make it big is like to hire people who are smarter than you and to keep looking out for those people. One thing as a founder you cannot stop doing is keep meeting people, and like the moment you meet someone which you think is like is something, just go all out getting that person in your team. Just do whatever it takes to have good people in your journey. And destination तो मिल ही जाएगी यार एक दिन, but then journey में अगर अच्छे लोग साथ में हो तो it builds a lot of interesting stuff on the journey itself.
So धोनी वाला philosophy है, process matters, results तो हो ही जाएंगे.
Higher, actually, most of us, and like I will count myself, a 2 year ago, Ravi Mathur would also have said the same thing, that the results matter. And but now, what I have realized is how you reach to those results is an equally important thing. So what you do is very essential. Why you do is the most essential, but how you do is also equally essential of how you do this thing. And that is where culture comes into play. So we have, like right now, when we started, for the longest period of time, we were around 35, 40 people. Right now, we are 70 plus. Our tech team is 22 people right now. It makes easy for me when I have people who enjoy being part of this team more than equally as me. And that is why every day when you get up, you know you are going to meet a set of people who are equally excited about building this thing. And I can't tell you that feeling. When you have a bunch of people who are aligned, a bunch of people who enjoy with being each other, a bunch of people who enjoy each other company, and they're building a game-changing stuff. And that is where our attrition rate is almost zero. So we are a 4.5-year-old company. I joined in 2019 October. I will be completing 4 years later this year. We have around 4 people going out, and that is like some of them were performance based. So this kind of an environment gives you that feeling that obviously culture is very important, and that is why you need to understand the delegation, the second part, which I have realized on my journey. Delegation is equally important. And for that, the basic understanding for a founder is trusting other people and let them make mistake. But you should always be there as a guiding light. You should always be there as somebody who can help them when they need you. Just asking plain questions without providing any answers when they require it will not make your team align with you. You need to be understanding of the fact that they are looking for you for that space whereby they can go out there, make mistakes, achieve stuff. And once they realize that they are in a safe environment whereby there is someone who is like with them in this journey, learning along the way, that creates a beautiful kind of atmosphere and culture.
Interesting. So while you've answered this for me about your mistakes, you also touched upon the whole gambit of the buzzwords, right? ChatGPT, AI, and ML, right? And I still remember that right now. So a few years ago, if you wrote AI and ML inside your pitch, you were always funded. You were given the fund you wanted. But yeah, so the challenge that today is: are they really taking the world by storm? Are they going to really change how developers operate? What's your take on this?
First of all, Zain, you need to be very clear as a founder that you are not going to build fancy technology just because you want to. You need to first understand what your customer want. If my customer is from a segment whereby they are not tech savvy user, it doesn't make any sense for me to develop an app for them. I would rather have a Google form and run my business on that. But at the back end, you need all of these technologies, and you need to first find use cases for them. What is really a use case for an AI/ML kind of an system in your software that you are creating or in your offering? Now we are building a tool whereby you can upload your insurance policy, and our app will tell you whether your claim will get rejected or not in the future. So we have a AI/ML team. We have a computer vision scientist. We are hiring NLP engineers. Now that we have a use case and we know what we want to do with that, that is when it makes sense to have these kind of buzzwords, because these buzzwords are not buzzwords just for the sake of it. They have a real use case, but you need to understand that real use case has to exist in your domain also, or in your offering, to make it really happen for you. So that is my take on it. Yeah, obviously they are here to stay. And like there is one thing that I keep on that I'm hearing from in my CTO network is like, are there going to be people who are going to lose their jobs because now ChatGPT is going to do? It is similar to what happened when internet was coming, that people who are doing all those manual work, would they go out of job? The only people who go out of job is the people who are not upgrading themselves, and that will stand true for everything. So the engineers who keep upgrading themselves, who can leverage ChatGPT to become a better engineer, will always be there. But people who do not have that understanding whereby they can improve themselves, or who are not ready to upgrade themselves, they will have a difficult time going forward. So it is very simple. If you can understand this thing, all these are for real, and all these are here to stay. All these buzzwords and technologies, they are for real and they are here to stay. Start embracing them, learn them, upgrade them, make yourself a better engineer by leveraging all of this stuff, and you will be here to stay, and you will become a more valuable asset in whatever you are doing.
True. Another thing that often is now spoken about, and obviously we've been watching that also, with respect to work from home office. There are a lot of debates. I think you've always highlighted and you've passionately always explained to me that, Zan, I'm very much proud of the way that the culture is. And you explained and you started explaining that the before you even hire people, you understand the why behind it, why they need to work with you and why they are here, right? So how are things panning out? I think you had a very solid explanation to when to pick up what. What's your take on that?
I was not a firm believer of work from office. I was maybe on the sidelines of both. I was okay with work from office. I was okay with work remotely also. But then my CEO, Deepak, so he was very adamant that we need a work from office kind of a culture. And right now, we moved back to office as soon as COVID regulations were over. And right now, if you have to ask me, I am glad that we did that right now, because we are a category creator product. So our product is something which exists, which was not there in the industry before. There was nobody who was putting tech into claim resolution or insurance grievances. So to build a product like this, you needed people to sit across the table and do their data crunching, do their ERD diagrams, do all of the discussions, and just to make people understand how a product is being built. And now I realize, when I look back at my journey, the impact that founders had on me, or the smartest and amazing founders that I worked with, and the kind of impact they had on me, was due to, I could see them day in, day out performing and doing their task with utmost discipline, the kind of energy they bring to table, the kind of discussions I used to have with them, and the clarity that I got with the discussions. This is something that I am realizing my team also looked towards me for those things. And now, when I look back at the last 2 years, and my team right now is at a position whereby they are much more comfortable with each other, and now there is a culture whereby I do not need to be part of several meetings, and they do it themselves, and they engage with each other, and there is an inter-team meeting, and everything is like running smoothly. Now I realize the importance of being in person, and more people and more companies are now making it mandatory to work from home. I hope they it works out, but it has, if you take my personal opinion, it has worked out really well for me, and I would always be a work from office kind of a person.
Wow. So interestingly, you've also touched upon how you have actually learned from your managers, right? And in the last few years, and in fact, a good amount of time that you spent in the industry, a lot of things might have shaped you up, right? As a co-founder today, you are so wanted to understand a little bit more about what you are an entrepreneur as well as an engineering lead, and not just an engineering lead in your career. What were those learnings? What were those folks that really changed the way that you started thinking?
So when you work with founders, so one thing that I really wanted to understand was what keeps them going. For example, if you are building a product and you see that there is a much better product with a bigger industry leader already out there, what makes them trigger to get onto that journey every single day? Why are you building something which already exists in a much better manner? But then you have to understand that they have identified a gap in the industry, or they have identified a gap in that product, and and they have they are executing day on a day basis. So they are very clear of their vision, of they are very clear of what they are going to execute in the coming years, and that is one thing that will rub onto you. And all of these concepts of valuation, all of these concepts of hiring, why a loss making startup will always keep getting more money, keep getting more valued, how are tech led what is a tech led startup, and all these things. Obviously you are good at code, but then for becoming a founder, there is much more than engineering that you need to understand. You need to understand the impact that it creates. You need to understand the vision, the mission, how you are going to and there is a lot of queries that you have as an engineer, which I used to ask my founders. Now when I am on a seat of a founder, I understand where my engineers are coming from when they ask a question. So it becomes easier for me to answer those questions, to keep my team motivated and aligned. So for example, I will give an example of my second company was iamjobs.com. I used to work with Tarun Vata very closely with the founder. I used to ask him a lot of questions. How are you going to raise money? How are you going to like, why are you building this thing? There is already a bigger competitor out there. What is your offering? And what, like, when you go out, what do you pitch to the investors? And the result was, just after working 1.5 years with them, I decided to go on a startup, to do a startup on my own. I would have never done a startup at such an early stage of my career until unless I used to spend so much of time with the founder. I wanted to, like, it rubbed onto you. You wanted to be in that position. You wanted to live that life. You wanted, so, and that is what I am saying. Work from office gives you access to those people, and then you understand the kind of impact that they people are creating, and then you understand that obviously this is what we are doing, and you want to replicate them. You want to get inspired. You get inspired by them. You want to be like them, and that is how somewhere it changes inside you, that you also want to create the same amount of impact. So that is some of the learnings that I used to take from my founders, and I have been blessed with very, very good people who have worked me, shaped me. My thought process has been shaped by all those people. I am on very, very good terms of any. Last week also, my manager from Cars24 visited my current office. He was very happy to see how my team is shaping up. He was sharing stories with my team, how we used to work, how I used to work with him. All of these relationships obviously eventually shapes you up as a person, and then eventually shapes you up as a leader. यार entrepreneur तो अच्छे बन ही जाओगे ना, इंसान अच्छे बन जाओ पहले. And that is where it comes from. Once you are good with people, you understand where other party is coming from, and all these learnings and this thing will shape you into a good leader. And then eventually you have to build a team to go far. In the longer journey, it is your team that is going to take you there. You're on mute, Zain.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that what Tarun taught you at IIM Jobs, I'm pretty sure that you guys are using it to the core while you're reaching out right now in terms of raising
Absolutely.
funds. Yeah.
So no,
I'm pretty.
obviously, my current CEO Deepak also had a lot of impact on how I think. So he has been like, so for example, I was like when I joined here, I was not a co-founder. I was just
Mhm.
I joined as a CTO only. In pre-series A round, I was promoted to as a co-founder. So Deepak had a
Mhm.
bigger role in playing me becoming a co-founder. I had a lot of questions. Obviously, every curious person has a lot of questions: why we are
True.
building, what we are building, what is the next step, how are we going to the next step. And obviously he understood all of that curiosity, and he gave me that freedom to just express yourself. And I used to be part of those VC calls and everything. And the only time that and every time I used to ask him, do I need to keep anything in mind before I say anything? And the only thing he said is, just be confident of your ability and express yourself. Just don't be. And then gives you that confidence, and that is what I give my team: just go out and express yourself, and like do whatever it takes. And we need to get this thing done. You have everything. You make mistakes, you will learn from it and just get better at it. And that is where everything, so you learn from your, like, how you lead has a lot to do with how you were being led in the past. And that is like
True.
same thing is like how you were being raised has a lot of impact of how are you going to raise your next generation. So it is same thing is, so now when I lead my team, I make sure and I take a great care that tomorrow, if, and obviously many of them are going to become founders. So I take great care of what I am telling them of how to lead people. And because I understand that a lot of what I do as a founder comes from my experiences from working with previous founders and my current founders also. I'm the youngest one. I'm the youngest one of the
Yeah.
5 founders that we have, and all of other apart from me are way ahead in this journey. So it is just like just to have that playing field whereby they understood that this kid is going to have a fun time over there, and we are going to let him make mistakes, and he's going to. Uh, they just trusted me, and that trust I am paying forward.
True. Absolutely. No, that's how you are actually now trusting that, I think, you're, in terms of what decisions your team takes. Two things that you picked that out really well, and obviously I'll come to that. The first being the technology-led companies, right? There are a lot of apprehensions, and we often keep seeing memes about it. As you mentioned, you're a category creator, you're a behavior changer. I strongly feel, and we had a very good discussion about how exactly a lot of companies who have done that right? They may not be still making in terms of accounts, because accounts again is a result of a lot of aspects, but they're still making a lot of change for the good, right? So can you help us understand a little bit about technology led? What are the misconceptions which people don't really realize? They often get carried away by the mass when they think it through.
Okay, so I will try to make it very simple for people to understand what is a tech-led company, and I will go by my opinion. So a tech-led company is something whereby revenue increases exponentially uh, uh, to the number of people that they have on their roles. And technology plays a major role in exponentially increasing of that revenue. For example, if there were 10 people who are working and you are making 100 rupees as a revenue, tomorrow if your strength goes from 10 to 20 but your revenue increases from 100 to 1000, so you have just 2x your team and your revenue has gone 10x, and your tech has played a role in making that revenue 10x. That is where tech has played a role. If similarly, if your 10 has your strength has become 10 to 20 and your revenue has only grown from 100 to, let's say, 200 or 250, you are not a tech led company. You are an operations led company, which is a tech, which is using tech as an enabler, not leveraging tech. There is a difference between tech enabled company and tech led company. That is where you are, like, tech is being enabled in your company, you are enabling tech to, like, but you're not being a tech led, because your tech is not leading the way you are moving forward. And that is where we have grown 6x in terms of revenue after our Shark Tank, and we have only grown, I think, 2x in terms of less than 2x in the number of employees that we have, and we have grown 8x in our gross. So that is how we have to understand, and we are very clear that we are going to be a lean team from day one. We are a lean team. uh, when we raise our pre-series A, we were not even 10 in tech team. The number of people in tech team when we raised our pre-series A round was around 7 or 8. It is in the last round from pre-series A to raising series A, which we raised in October last year. That is where our most of the team has grown, because we have come up with our app, we have came up with our new acquisition product where Know Your Policy. It is first kind of a product globally, which I explained you. And then there is a couple of apps that we have recently launched. So that is where the team has increased, because our product offerings have increased. It is not that the same product was getting more and more engineers. No, we were using tech. We are a tech-led company, and that is why we made sure that in spite of our offerings being increased, we are using technology as an approach rather than people as an approach to grow.
आपने एक दो बार एक term use किया, Shark Tank और VC. So a lot of questions I think out there. You mentioned about people catching you on the roads, on the go. कि भाई Shark Tank में आपको देखा. So how has life changed after Shark Tank? What was the experience like?
So I get called to, I get invited to more events for sure. एक तो ये change हो गया. दूसरा, the introduction has become a bit more catchy for people. ये भी change हो गया. Now people easily recognize us, because उससे पहले उनके पास चला जाता है कि ये Shark Tank में थे, तो वो वीडियो देख के आते हैं, तो it becomes easier for us to give our intro and make that impact. तो वो एक easy हो गया. It was a blessing of all the customers जिनके हमने cases solve किए हैं, that we got a platform like Shark Tank on national television for, and the airtime that we got was like around half an hour, which was like maximum for somebody in season 1, I think. So yeah, all this has helped, and obviously the kind of product that we have, Zain, उसमें क्या है कि we cater to every single policy holder in the country. And right now, people are there who are experiencing this problem, but they didn't knew कि ऐसा कोई platform exist करता है. So Shark Tank से क्या हुआ? People understood that there is someone who can help them. And that is where we got a lot of calls, and it was like, it went on for 2-3 months, and still we keep getting calls कि हमने आपका Shark Tank का video देखा यार, we watched you on Shark Tank and this happened and that happened. But it was pure madness for those 2-3 months. It was like the IVR went buzzing, the social media handles were on fire and everything, and everybody was called. And there were people who जिनके पास cases थे भी नहीं. They just called and blessed कि यार मतलब कि आप ऐसा इतना अच्छा काम कर रहे हो. We just we would just like to congratulate you and bless you. So that kind of impact. If you go to our social media channels and the kind of YouTube videos, testimonials that we have, or the social media channels, if you go, the kind of testimonials or the kind of feedback that we receive is something which acts as a fuel to get up every single day and do it again. कि यार इनके लिए solve करना है यार. मतलब जो emotions है ना, they are pure raw emotions. एक founder को एक customer की satisfaction से ज्यादा कुछ भी motivate नहीं करता. जब वो एंड यूजर जिसके लिए आपने ये शुरू किया था, जब वो आपको अपना फीडबैक देता है, या फिर वो आपका, that is the best form of marketing you can have. When your customer starts talking about you, that is the best form of marketing. But there is a limit to what how many people then our customer can connect. तो वो Shark Tank से हमारा एक पीरियड के लिए सॉल्व हुआ, एंड फिर हमारी मार्केटिंग, एंड नाउ वी आर लुकिंग टू एक्सपेंड आवर मार्केटिंग एंड एवरीथिंग. But yeah, Shark Tank was a really, really good point in our journey. It helped us scale. It helped us obviously get into households. It becomes easier for us to start our introduction now. और उससे obviously VC and funding also help तो करता ही है उस चीज में.
So obviously Shark Tank के बारे में I think viewers might have questions in future, but एक question है कि how so if someone today just out there, I think it's good that at least India is moving towards, and as a whole ecosystem is more towards starting businesses. That's good for India overall. So if someone, for example, applies next year, or maybe whenever they're starting next, so what are your thought process? Kya mistakes, if you have any, that you would like to share that wo nahi repeat karna, or something that you'd like to share with people who have an aspiration to apply for Shark Tank or any other shows like this in future?
यार देखो, जो बिगेस्ट डिफरेंस मुझे लगा था ना यार, क्योंकि जब भी हम VCs की कॉल करते हैं ना, वो होती है मोस्टली इंग्लिश में, और वहां पे जो प्लेटफॉर्म है वो हिंदी में होता है. तो वो आपकी जो पिच होती है ना, आपको फिर वो हिंदी में पूरी प्रिपेयर करनी पड़ती है. तो सो एक ये थोड़ा सा वो रहता है, बिकॉज मोस्टली डे इन डे आउट यू आर टॉकिंग टू VCs, you are talking in a manner whereby like English is your primary language of communicating the numbers, the funnel and everything. And like you are suddenly on a platform whereby you are asked कि यार आपको ना हिंदी में ही बोलना है सब कुछ, कि आपका यूजर का चर्न क्या हुआ है, यूजर एक्विजिशन है, फनल क्या है, and everything has to come like. But द ब्यूटी ऑफ आवर ब्रांड इज कि लाइक हमारे जो कस्टमर है वो ना हर उसमें एग्जिस्ट करता है, हर सोसाइटी के हर सेगमेंट में एग्जिस्ट करता है, एंड लाइक टेस्टिमोनियल्स में भी हमारे, एंड लाइक वी आर, तो वो चीज का एक रहता है। दूसरी चीज रहती है कि यार जस्ट बी वेरी क्लियर अबाउट आवर ऑफरिंग, व्हाट यू आर ऑफरिंग इट शुड बी क्रिस्टल क्लियर। अगर आपको एक लाइन में बताना पड़े, विच इज लाइक वी आर अ इंश्योरेंस ग्रीवेंस प्लेटफॉर्म, हम आपकी इंश्योरेंस की क्लेम की समस्याओं को दूर करते हैं, इंश्योरेंस की समस्या से परेशान, हमारे पास है समाधान। So that is how clear you have to be. If you can be very clear about what you are offering, it will get instant connect with the customer. And उसके बाद में तो obviously आपके जो customer testimonials and everything वो आपको help करेंगे। तो यार obviously we मतलब we can call ourselves as veterans of Shark Tank now. But again, that was a joke.
So
but again, my only advice would be, if I can give one, I do not think I am like good enough to give advice on anything. I am also a part of a journey right now where I keep exploring myself day in day out. But again, the only advice that I have, or like any, I would keep it as suggestion. The only suggestion that I have for people is keep it very real, keep it very honest, and keep it as clear as possible. एक email को समझ में कुछ जानवर का न्यूज़ मत करो. Just be very simple and honest and authentic, so that the person who is your last end segment का user, उसको भी बिल्कुल समझ में आ जाए कि यार आप क्या करना, क्या आप क्या करते हो.
Interesting. So now going back to a little bit about your leadership and how exactly you mentor, I think you've absolutely highlighted the fact that you guys have been champions in terms of handling attrition, and that too in a span of 4 years, where the whole madness of tech going bizarre, tech requirements going bizarre, still holding on to your team. I understood the fact that you've always focused on explaining the people why they're here and what they can expect their careers to be. Beyond there, are you guys focused on something which you're doing something very unique that we should be aware of in terms of ensuring that your tech talent really sits? Because attrition is a very big challenge in this kind of a tech industry overall. We understand that and we respect that also.
Okay. Pehli baat, the golden rule of this thing is hire when you need to. Only hire when you really, really need to hire. So ये एक golden thumb rule है. Do not go on a hiring spree just because you have raised some money. That is not an answer. You need to be very clear about the role that these guys are going to play. Because a good engineer will always have questions up his sleeve. That why is he doing what he is doing and what's next for him. So you need to be very clear that you have these things clear for him. When you have a position, you need to understand that there is going to be a person who is looking for career growth also. And that is where you need to be very clear. So for example, the first engineer that joined us is still here with us. The first UI UX guy who was there, who joined us, is still here with us. So there was a fresher who is now a ESOP holder in our company. He was a fresher when he joined, and now he holds ESOPs with us. He has grown into that role. Now he's a senior leader in our team. So that is what, and these type of examples will make more people stay with you, because it doesn't matter how much you talk, but when those people speak about their journey with us, that is what people are looking for. It doesn't matter what you end up saying. It matters what you end up eventually doing with your employees. And that is where day in, day out, you have to understand, you need to keep interacting with your team. You need to make sure that you are dealing with their problems, and you need to understand their human aspect also. It is just like I can treat my engineers just as an engineer, or I can treat them my engineers as engineers but as a human also. Because my problem is is the biggest problem in the world. I need to understand the other person on the table is also having problems in his life. So we have been together through tough times also. In COVID, we were like, and it brought us closer. And most of the team that I had, my basic team, which made us reach, which were there with me till our Series A journey, were hired during COVID. And it took us around like good around of 6 to 8 months, whereby I first time saw them in physical, and that was because of the and that was also because of some party that we throw. Ki yaar, aajo ek party karte hain, and then we will meet. And after that, we eventually met for the first time. But then you have to, but all this has been done. You have to somehow make sense that the next step in their journey is somehow your responsibility also. You need to be one step ahead of your team, just to show them the right career path. You need to be acting like a mentor, a guide, You need to give them safe space whereby they are not afraid of sharing their things. I would be very proudly saying that most of my team members share their personal problems with me also. Sir, ye ho gaya hai, aise ho gaya. And that kind of a bond takes time to create. But eventually, a close bunch of people will stay together rather than a close bunch of people who are just paid well. Because if money is something that I'm competing on, I know I'm going to lose to some people who have raised more money than me. But if there is somebody who has beaten me on creating a good culture, I think I'll be happy. I'll be happy. I will be taking it as a lesson. And that is where I understand there has been mistakes on my way. I am also learning as a leader day in, day out. But you need to be very sure and you need to be very analytical of your choices you make as a leader. And you need to be very, very careful about how somebody is behaving in your team. And you have to address some things which are uneasy. But then you need to open about suggestions also. If somebody is saying something, you have to have a habit of listening. And that is why when people feel that they are a part of a system, they contribute more to the system. They feel like they are somebody who have a say in the system. They will stay there. You have to respect each and everybody, because when people feel respected, they will stay in that place, because respect is something that everybody would crave for. And all of this will lead to a team whereby they feel comfortable with each other. And that is what makes people stay in a longer run. And right now, all of this growth is something which is a byproduct and which has happened with us. And right now, when these people grow, there is nothing that gives me more joy than seeing these people grow. And tomorrow, I'm giving you my word, some of them will become founders. And that will be a bigger joy for me as a founder. Obviously, customer comes first, but then seeing these people grow with me, I think that is also a pure joy that I feel.
Interesting. So I think you've explained this very well, to be very honest, Ravi. While what you've explained to me, I would say that there's a human end of the day. At the opposite end, still an engineer is a human. Always, you don't have the BMWs or the ESOPs really taking it off. A lot of times, end of the day, people like to be loved.
Many ESOPs bhi dene hote hain yaar. So it is a mix of both. It is just like you cannot neglect the money part also. You have to be you have to pay your employees well also. And we have been we were one of the few companies that do not fire anybody just because COVID was there. We hired people. We gave appraisals in COVID. So that is something. Obviously, you need to be giving people what they are working for, what their worth is. Right. So that is also there. ESOPs bhi dene padte hain yaar. Just empathy won't work in the long run.
I agree. Absolutely. No, I see. To be honest, that there are certain kind of hygiene which has to be taken care of. But what do you do extra? Because we at Recro also faced the same thing. To be very honest, we've had situations anonymously. Log puchte rehte hain because we are active in a lot of community platforms. People come in ki ABC company versus Recro. Often people come back and say ki ha, even when things go wrong, Recro still backs you up in terms of ensuring that at least you get the right. So हमारे साथ भी होता है when funding winter comes in or these things, COVID hits you, you have people. But fortunately, we've been also capable of really placing them across. So ऐसा नहीं कि हमने छोड़ दिया. And those good things actually come back to you. There are a lot of people who have gone, refer you more, because end of the day, that's how it is, right? You mentioned, in our case, our customer is our candidates, right? If they aren't happy, there's no reason of we being existing, right? And if they go out and really talk about it, then we're doing something good in life.
Absolutely. So bottom lines remains the same. If you have an environment whereby everybody feels they are contributing, everybody feels they are being respected, everybody feels that they are growing, I think people will stay. And they are paid well.
That's part of the game right now. Going back and really trying to talk a little bit about the product that you guys are building and the overall industry, I think we had a good conversation, which I asked you कि भाई कुछ लोग आपके office के बाहर तो नहीं आए, you guys are challenging some of the behemoths of the world, right? So can you give us a quick glimpse of what Insurance Samadhan is on to? I'm pretty sure you have good announcements to make in a week or two. We are happy to hear that very soon. But yeah, beyond that, what is something that gets excited to our consumer? Since I assume everyone listening and beyond is your ideal consumer to be there, right?
We resolve every type of insurance grievance. So what we do is कि आपके साथ अगर कोई मिस सेलिंग हो गई है कि आपको कोई प्रोडक्ट ऐसे बेच दिया गया है जिसकी आपको जरूरत नहीं थी एंड देयर वर अ फॉल्स प्रॉमिस, फॉर एग्जांपल आपको एफडी बोलकर इंश्योरेंस बेच दिया गया हो, तो उन सब चीजों को हम हैंडल करते हैं. आपका कोई क्लेम रिजेक्ट कर दिया गया हो, उनको हम हैंडल करते हैं. आपका कोई क्लेम शॉर्ट सेटल कर दिया हो, उसको हम हैंडल करते हैं. आपको जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल शॉर्ट सेटलमेंट का मतलब होता है कि आपको 1 लाख रुपए का क्लेम आपने फाइल किया था, आपको सिर्फ 50,000 रुपए दिए गए, तो बाकी के 50,000 के लिए भी हम फाइट करते हैं. तो ऑल ऑफ दिस वी डू, एंड वी डू इट अक्रॉस हेल्थ, लाइफ एंड जनरल इंश्योरेंस, एवरी टाइप ऑफ इंश्योरेंस वी डील इन. तो ये सारी चीजें हम करते हैं. तो इंश्योरेंस समाधान ये सारी की सारी चीजें आर ऑफरिंग है. अभी वेरी सून विल बी आउट विद आवर क्लेम फाइलिंग फीचर आल्सो. एंड अभी हमने एक फीचर लॉन्च किया है नो ईयर पॉलिसी करके. नो ईयर पॉलिसी का मीनिंग है कि आपने अपनी इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी हमारी ऐप में अपलोड करी. Our app name is Polifix, POLIFIX, Polifix. You can download it from App Store and iOS Store. तो Play Store and App Store. तो अगर आप उसमें अपनी पॉलिसी अपलोड करते हैं तो सिस्टम विल टेल यू कि आपकी इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी में अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम है या फिर इफ देयर इज समथिंग व्हिच विल लीड टू योर क्लेम रिजेक्शन, सो दैट इज व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू टेल यू अर्लियर.
Interesting. So I think in future, a lot of things you're going to automate and all this processes are in being built, right? So I think this is what I wanted to walk through. If I could summarize what I've learned, and then I'll ask certain questions if there are from the audience. I think what I've learned today is majorly two things. It's important that you look into the purpose of your existence in terms of the product also you make. So the whys of I think Simon Sinek's why is well answered. That's one of the highlights that I learned today. The second, I think it's very important that you need to delegate and don't get. And you mentioned you've used terms like founder fatigue and all out there. So obviously these are important things for leaders to learn who are really taking it to the next level. And the last thing that I've honestly learned is that at the end of the day, the CTOs are engineers, but they're also humans. So you need to treat every engineer equally well, and you need to be treated well. So that's gonna be staying.
Not
so
only
these are some.
You need to treat everyone well, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to talk to the fraternity right now. But yes, but that's what it is. So the CTO still wants to get up and code, but he still wants to delegate and really make it to the next level. But yeah, these are some of the learnings that I had. I think whoever was listening was also enjoying, and I'm pretty sure that whoever catches up to the next will also have certain lot of learnings. Any questions that we have, I think Anjum has, is what is the major challenge you had initially faced while raising? So raising funds is a big concern. I think that's out there in the market, and it's glad that you guys are still raising. So the market, as per whole, the macroeconomics doesn't look light. But what's your major challenge? What has been your learning in terms of raising funds?
So one of the major challenges that we faced was like people understood that there is a problem, but there is so if I like. How big is the market? There is no source for it. For example, most of the people who had their claim reject or like who had been missold policies, they do not log their complaints somewhere so that we can get a data of telling VCs or telling somebody that how big is the market. But eventually, wherever we go, and like even if I like addressing 100 people, then if I ask them, do you know about an insurance policy, or do you face any claim rejection, or do you feel your insurance policy is the right product? I think most of them will raise their hand and will say, we do not understand our insurance policy. Yeah, we have faced a claim rejection, or somebody in our family has faced claim rejection. The market is such humongous market, but then if you go and if you find like all of the reports that you will find out, or like anything that will go into the market, there is no data that will prove how big the market is. To just to go out there and like to tell people that this is the total addressable market size, it was a challenge. But then eventually in our journey, the kind of traction that we got and the kind of growth that we have shown over the past 4 years has eventually solved it for us, because there is a huge market that is out there. So that is one of the challenges that we had. Yeah. Apart from that, yeah, there are normal challenges that are there. Funding winter has been like this thing, but we have been very fortunate that we have been able to raise money during that thing also. And that speaks a lot about the team that we have built. It is not only the founder, it is about the team. So we have always had a mentality in our founders, we have very clear from day one, it is always about the team first, the culture that we have built, and the most important part, the customers. Because the customer tells a lot about us, the kind of testimonials and everything, and there have been a lot that has been said. So we have been covered extensively by social media because our startup somewhere has a social cause also, and that is why we connected to the whole audience on Shark Tank. So we got calls from outside country also, whereby people who said, "Yeah, we are NRIs and our parents are living and they have been missold. Can you help them?" So such queries were also there. So that is where the kind of product, the kind of brand that we are building, and the kind of offering that we have, connect is natural with us. So that helped us in our journey.
So I think your product is that everyone knows it, everyone wants it, but none have it. So I think
and like people were looking people were looking for a trustable brand. So Shark Tank solved a trustable factor for us, because people who had already lost their money, why would they trust somebody else also? And that is why our step, that we do not take any money upfront. आप हमारे पास आते हो, हम आपसे कोई फीस चार्ज नहीं करते. अगर आपका केस हम सेलेक्ट करते हैं, तब हम आपसे एक नॉमिनल रजिस्ट्रेशन फीस लेते हैं 500 रुपीज की. उसके अलावा हम आपसे आपका केस सॉल्व होने तक कोई पैसा नहीं लेते. तो इफ यू हैव लॉस्ट योर 100 रुपीज, रेस्ट एश्योर हम आपसे दोबारा 100 रुपीज आपके नहीं लेने वाले हैं. हम आपके पैसे अगर आपको वापस दिला पाए तो ठीक है, तब हम आपसे एक सक्सेस फी चार्ज करते हैं. अगर हम वो पैसे आपको नहीं दिला पाए वापस, विच इज वेरी रेयरली, बिकॉज हमारा सक्सेस रेट बहुत हाई है, बिकॉज हम केस ही बहुत सोच समझ के लेते हैं. अगर हम वो भी नहीं कर, मतलब किसी भी वजह से अगर हम वो भी दिला पाते, तो हम आपके वो 500 रुपये भी वापस कर देते हैं. आपकी जो रजिस्ट्रेशन फीस है वो भी हम आपको वापस कर देते हैं. So that is one step that we take so that people can confide in us. Ki yaar, these are the right people. So such steps have been taken on our journey, which has helped us in connecting with the customer. So ये सारी चीजें, ये learnings, and on a day-to-day basis we keep experiencing what our customer wants to inform us, and we have been very agile in our offering. We quickly make changes. And obviously, as a category creator, we have to listen to the customer, because that is the only thing that will drive our product from here on. आपने अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग से एक चीज बना लिया, बट आफ्टर अ व्हाइल योर प्रोडक्ट इज बीइंग ड्रिवन बाय द कस्टमर ऑलवेज. आपका कस्टमर आपको डायरेक्शंस देता रहेगा. इट इज अप टू यू इफ यू कैन फिल्टर आउट दैट नॉइज, क्योंकि बहुत सारी नॉइज भी आएगी कस्टमर से. एवरीबडी विल थिंक कि उनकी सजेशन इज द बेस्ट वन, बट देन यू हैव टू लिसन टू योर कस्टमर, हैव दैट विजडम ऑफ फिल्टरिंग आउट दैट नॉइज, और उसमें से कंस्ट्रक्टिव क्रिटिसिज्म और फीडबैक दोनों को लेके जस्ट कीप ऑन बिल्डिंग, कीप एड्रेसिंग योर कस्टमर. यू आर ऑन अ गुड पाथ देन.
Interesting. Nice. I think this is good. I think there's one more question that has just been posted. Yours is your take on scalability of early startup founders. So how can early stage founders also think about scalability? Are they really required, or what's your take on that?
Yeah, देखो, it has become easier now. As a tech co-founder, I can tell you it has become a lot easier now. You have all these tools, AWS, microservices, RDS, and all these tools that are there in the market. It has become really easy for you to have a scalable architecture from day one. What is lacking is people understanding the nitty-gritty of system architecture. So what helped me really from day one was, like, I had already worked in Cars24 on a scalable architecture. So when I was building this system from scratch, I was very clear from day one of what we are going to do as a technology company. So we have been on AWS from day one. We are using services like Postmark, Bitbucket, Jira, Trello, and everything has been there. We are using New Relic for our API monitoring. Everything has been there from day one. Now, and then when you write your code, so we were writing microservices from day one. And like you have to understand also the difference between a monolith architecture and a microservices architecture. All of this needs to be clear from day one. And if you're good at understanding this thing, scalability will come scalability will eventually be there. But then you need to design your system in such a way that it becomes easier. And a bigger role in this thing is played by the business requirements also. The more clear the business requirements are, the more scalable the architecture which will eventually be. So the engineers also need to have an open mind of interacting with people from other departments. That is the beauty of the culture that we have at Insurance Samadhan, is the engineers do not work in silos. They are working in conjunction with the product as well as the operations team, because they are the one who understands what a customer is going through, because they are interacting. The first point of customer interaction is with the operations team. So the customer service team. So the engineers who have that business sense of understanding a business requirement and then coding it, which will eventually be a 10x engineer, rather than a person who is just good at writing code. You have to write code to solve some problem rather than just writing good code. If you are writing code just to be like good at some, no, you have to first understand the business requirement, then modulate your code, and then start delivering something which solves that problem with ease and at scale. That will make you and that will solve a lot of things going forward. But eventually, whatever happens, there will be some tech debt which you have to take in your account as a CTO. You have to be understandable of the fact that there will be some bandwidth which you will have to account for your refactoring of the code, because whatever you write today, obviously in 3 to 4 years of time, you will have to refactor that. The business will change, the landscape will change, the technology will change. And that is where you need to account for these things. But obviously, if you're clear from what you are building, it becomes an easier journey. And when you're doing it for a second time, right, like I am doing, it becomes a lot easier.
I understand. Learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Cool. I think it was a great pleasure, Ravi, to have you. I think we can really talk. I think it's been those conversations that I had also in past where we never felt of time. I just saw that we are almost about to fall short. We've increased our time. So it was a pleasure having you, Ravi. I'm pretty sure that everyone out there and all these engineers would really love to hear you again, hopefully soon. And honestly, wish you and your team really all the best, and really proud that you guys are really solving it something for a mass which really needs it. As I mentioned, that everyone wanted it, but never knew where to get it from. That's the kind of product that you guys are building. Congratulations on that, and always wait for a good news coming from your end very soon.
Thanks, Zain. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you guys, and obviously looking forward. Thanks to your team. And it was a real pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you.
Okay, Ravi. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.